What's up, my people? How are they? How you guys doing? How you enjoying this compulsory holiday that everyone is on right now? How do you see it? What's going on in your area? Other countries are doing everything they can. Even China, where this disease started, they've tried as much as they can to make sure that they cope and curtail the spread of the disease. For about 5 days straight now, there hasn't been any new case recorded in China, according to reports. So, by looking at what is happening in our own continent, actually people are moving it from the West down to Africa. And there is this belief that Africans are so immune to this virus that is killing majority of the whites, especially the elderly people, affecting people to destroying lives, economy, and all that. So we believe that the virus cannot hurt us. It cannot hurt our economy. It can't hurt our lives. People are moving about their daily business as usual in Africa, doing whatever they wish. The majority are not adhering to the WHO's warning of keeping distance, a meter and a half, 2 meters, as you wish, but minimum of a meter. So the question I'm trying to ask here today, what I'm looking at is how prepared are we over there to tackle this virus head on? Because we've seen those that built hospitals overnight. We've seen those that converted hotels into hospitals to cater for those that are in quarantine, those that have been affected or suspected cases. They have turned hotels into hospitals to make sure that there is space available to accommodate everyone. And we're also seeing what is going on in Italy, how the disease has overrun Italy. Italy has overtaken China, with the cases of infected people and the dead also. Now, the Nigerian government, that is where I'm coming from, Nigerian government is planning to shut down the airports, the international airports, by tomorrow being Monday. And they were expected to have given like 2 weeks notice or even a week, because we have Nigerians that are stuck abroad as I'm talking to you right now. There are people in the United States, people are stuck in the UK. They can't come out of their apartments and they can't fly back to Nigeria because all international flights have been cancelled. So how prepared are we to fight this disease? People are asking for the president to address the nation. But it's unfortunate that the president has been quiet, silent for some time. We expected him to give us, if not daily report like other heads of states are doing. For instance, Donald Trump, Emmanuel Macron of France, Pedro Sanchez of Spain, and Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom. They update their people regularly, tell them the measures the government has taken to make sure that everything is in place and, to encourage the citizens, tell them not to fear and all that. So our people are expecting the president to reveal to us, tell us what is going on, please, if you can see me, hit the like button. I don't really know why I hardly see messages on this live stream. That's why I've not been streaming for some time, because I don't actually know what's going on. If you can see me, hit the like button. You can send a message. Let me see. I think we have someone online, but I can't see your name. I don't know what's going on. I don't really know. I've tried to fix this, but it's still the same. Anyway, so the nation is expecting our president to address us, to tell us the measures and the funds that they said they've spent on combating this virus, about 1.6 billion or so that I heard that they have spent on combating the virus. They need to tell us what they use the funds to do. We know that the hospitals are still in dilapidated shapes and nothing new anyway, nothing new. No new ambulances imported or bought or manufactured in the country to convey the sick to different hospitals and take care of those that need attention. Or when you call them, there's this case I heard that the emergency line that was given to people to call in case if you start feeling somehow, if you feel maybe you have these symptoms of this virus, that you should call this emergency line. And people kept calling the line. It's been busy. Sometimes you call them, they will tell you they are no longer working or they've retired. Everybody is scared. So the president's speech to the nation, how important is it compared to the actions being taken by the government? Because I don't think if the president gives any speech without backing it up with action, it doesn't make much sense anyway. So for me, the president's speech is important, but the action is more important. And right now, if the president starts giving us speech again, it's a kind of late, because since this virus started spreading, other presidents have been talking to their people. So what we now expect is action from the president and those in the presidency and people in every aspect of the government that we have today in Nigeria to tell us or to show us the effort that they are making to make sure that this virus doesn't claim the lives of Nigerians. Because if it comes into Nigeria with what we have on ground, there will be a huge problem that the country will find difficult to recover from. So, moving forward, we have so many hospitals and clinics in Nigeria that need urgent attention. So how prepared is the government to make sure that these hospitals are up to standard to be able to cater for the always growing population of the country? Nigeria has about 200 million citizens right now. So what has the government done to put measures on ground, to put emergency systems, to equip our emergency sections of the hospitals, to equip them so that they can be able to manage the teeming population of Nigeria in case anything happens, in case this virus breaks out unexpectedly in Nigeria? And the money that they have spent, what have they done with it? If they can show us proofs of what they have done with the funds that they claim to have spent to tackle this disease, that would be a good thing. Another thing is, doctors are going on strike in Nigeria. There is a world emergency. Everyone is running helter-skelter in the world. Doctors in Nigeria are going on strike. The government is not paying them according to the reason why they try to embark on strike. So the government should make sure they live up to the expectation of the doctors so that they will be on ground to receive anyone that takes ill. We have committees that they are setting up here and there in our country today. Other countries like Ghana in West Africa didn't talk about setting up committees to tackle the virus. So I don't understand why there are committees being set up by different states at the federal level, local government areas. Some states are still picking or choosing members of their own committees as I'm talking to you now. But what is the work of those in power? The Ministry of Health, the Commissioners of Health, the Minister himself, personal assistants, special assistants, even those that are in the local government. We have those that still take care of the Ministry of Health in the local government areas. What is their work? In the West, no one is talking about setting up committees. The Ministry of Health, both in the federal level and the state level, are the ones coordinating with the doctors, the security agents, to make sure that the stay at home, the lockdown that the federal government has imposed on the citizens, are obeyed. You don't see anyone walking around. So how do you think that a lockdown will be effective in Nigeria when we have security agents that care about themselves, those that don't take their job seriously, those that don't want to, those that don't see that the growth of the country is on par with what is obtained in the Western world? So how do you expect this kind of lockdown that people are experiencing in the Western world to be effective and efficient in Nigeria today? The Ministry of Transport also, they have their own part to play in making sure that the lives of Nigerians or lives of Africans are safe, because they need to monitor the number of people that board cabs, taxis, buses in Nigeria now. Thank God that in Lagos, they said the BRT, where people used to hang from maybe Lekki to Aja, stuff like that, that no one is standing up in the buses anymore. People are now seated. But they need to separate them, make sure that the distance that the WHO has stipulated is maintained to curtail the spread of this virus, because if they don't, we know how Nigeria is. We know how people move around in droves in Nigeria. Go to Lagos, you go to Aba, go to Onitsha, you see the number of people that walk around the markets every day. So how do we contain the movement of people? How do we make sure that they adhere to what the ministries are saying? How do we make sure that the people listen to what the government and the WHO is saying, to stay at home, keep that distance, watch where you converge, and obey the laws of the land? Because now the Lagos state government has issued a warning that more than 20 people cannot gather in a place. Are they going to listen to what they are saying? All right, that's another question that I'm asking. So how possible is it to lock down Nigeria in a system like this? How possible is it? How possible is it to lock down Nigeria in the kind of system that we operate? Go to the market, you see there are no rules and regulations in our markets. There are no rules and regulations in our transport system. So how do we curtail the movement of people? How do we make sure that this law is enforced to make sure that the situation does not get out of hand? Then the government, on their own part, what are they doing? Someone rising up in the Federal House of Representatives to ask the government to convert prisons to hospitals. Can't the government equip the hospitals that are existing on ground in Nigeria? Some states are lacking kits for tests. So if all these things are still going on today, since this disease broke out 3 months ago, and the nation is not ready to tackle it head on, to make sure that the citizens are safe, how are they going to cope this spread if it starts now that we have more than 22 cases already in Nigeria? How are they going to do it? Because as we know already in Nigeria, that everything that happens, it will be like there is no need for panic. There is no need to raise any alarm, no cause alarm, that the government is on top of the situation. Will it still be the government is on top of the situation as usual, or are they going to take a bold step to control the spread of the disease and take care of their... Wow! Hi! Hello, I can see you now. That's beautiful. Thank you. Ayebere. Let's hope it doesn't spread in Nigeria, because seriously, it will be a disaster, and also it's going to be difficult to practice social distancing. Where do we start? Is it in the market? That's what I'm saying, Ebere. Thank you for your contribution. The market, Nigerian markets are always flooded with people. So it will be very difficult to check the movement of people and to enforce social distancing in Nigeria. But that is not the beginning of the whole thing. Social distancing needs to be done through awareness, through sensitization of the populace. You know, if we take, because the world, I think, I can't really remember that, where I saw that in a publication, that Nigeria is filled with rural dwellers more than urban dwellers. That means sensitization, this information needs to be taken to the rural people more than those in the urban area. Like Lagos, they know what's happening. In Abuja, they know what's going on. Maybe in Onitsha, Owerri, and Aba, they also know what's going on. But those that come from the villages to these markets, those that operate the motor parks, mostly live in the villages. So the information needs to be taken to them in the village so that they will understand that social distancing is key to survive this virus. Washing your hand regularly is key to survive this virus. And also tell them that you don't need to hug somebody or speak into the person's mouth for the person to hear you. You can give 1 meter, 2 meters, and the person will still hear you. So that is that is the only way we can be able to control what to come in Nigeria now that it has started. Because 22 people, if 22 people come in contact with, let's say, 50 each, how many more cases are we going to have? How prepared is the country, the nation, the government to handle what is to come? Are they going to be like Zimbabwe, where they will use stick to be flogging churchgoers or church members in their churches to disperse, not to gather or cluster in a place? If you pursue people from the churches, have you pursued them from the markets? That is the question. If you pursue them from the market, have you stopped them from clustering in a 13-seater bus that will load 18 or 20 passengers? That is another question. So we have to help ourselves, and the government also needs to do their best. It's not by lip service. It's not by telling us that the government is on top of the situation. We always know that the government is always on top of the situation according to them. But the work that they put in and what we see on ground, there is no harmony, no relationship between them. And the funds that they claim to have spent on combating and fighting this virus, I don't think from those that have been to the hospitals, those that have relatives that have been admitted and quarantined, the videos and audios that I've heard, there is nothing on ground to show that these funds have actually been spent on health sector in Nigeria. Like the woman that was diagnosed in Enugu State, a woman that returned from United Kingdom that was accused of having the virus or alleged to have contracted the virus. She died. When the result came out, it became negative. She didn't have the virus. But the environment where she was kept, like the daughter said, made the woman to give up the ghost. So the government of Nigeria, be it in the state level, federal level, or the local level, must come together and work with the people. This thing is not about setting up committees. It's about those in the helm of affairs doing their work. The Minister of Health, the Commissioners of Health, Special Assistants, PAs, it's time for them to put their hands together with the presidency and the state governors and find a solution to stop this spread that is already started in Nigeria now. 22 people, 22 confirmed cases are no joke. 22 people cannot be allowed to spread the virus more in Nigeria. So if you find value in this, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not, share our videos with your friends and family, and don't forget to turn on the bell notification so that each time we come online or we release a new video, you'll be notified. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.